All right, digital scanner. This applies to everybody. I personally think it's absolutely, represents standard of care today. Naren, remember the old way of taking impressions? You probably had some where
Yes.
they put goop in your mouth. I don't care what flavor. They could make pina colada flavored impression material, and it's still a miserable experience for the patient.
Yes.
It's miserable. They gag. It's inaccurate. I mean, think about the technology behind that, Naren. You're putting goop in their mouth. You're taking an impression of their tooth, and out of that, you're going to build a model and then build a new tooth. I think they had that in the Middle Ages. Okay, I'm exaggerating. They didn't have it in the Middle Ages, but they might as well have. So digital scanner. And we should be scanning all your patients. We should be getting a digital record of all your patients. Some people will find value in we leave the image up on the screen and they're looking at it. The engineers, the techies, the nerds. I still like we always take digital photos for patient education because everyone gets the value of the photos. Some people will get the value out of the digital scanner. But what are the benefits? It's a more pleasant experience for the patient. That's a practice builder, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
You mean, Doc, I don't have to put that bad goop in my mouth? No, nope.
No.
We have a new way of doing it. So it's a better patient experience. It can be done very quickly with some training. It can be done very quickly, and it's more accurate. What you're going to convey then to the lab is more accurate. So what's the final result going to be? Better quality. And you've got options on what to do after you get the scanner. You could choose to put a mill in your practice, scan the image to the lab. The lab would send a digital image or a digital record over to your office to the mill. You can mill the restoration right there. Or you can just have the lab mill it and have it done milled off of the digital impression. So I think a digital scanner belongs in every practice.
I agree, Gary. Yeah, I think I haven't, had any of our clients, new clients even, who haven't had a digital scanner. It's like a default on every practice.
Now, digital scanners range in price from, frankly, very inexpensive. Think of them as throwaway technology.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to David Hornberg about this recently, and he said, he really likes the iTero. The iTero is an expensive scanner, and if you're going to be doing certain aligners, you're required to use the iTero. So the iTero is on the high end, and it's an excellent scanner. There's other really good ones. We don't have any bias here, but there are inexpensive scanners that David says, think of those as kind of throwaway technology. Use them now. Get familiar with the scanning. Your lab might be able to recommend an inexpensive scanner. And then when the newest, latest, greatest comes out, in 6 months, you could upgrade to a new one. So there is a debate about where to go in terms of scanners. I will go on record as saying I don't like the way some of the manufacturers have a closed ecosystem. For example, Invisalign and iTero, it's closed. You have to use that. I like the idea of open architecture. Like, for example, open dental software. Open dental software works with any periphery. It doesn't have to be Patterson, doesn't have to be Shine. It can be anything. And I wish more would go open. I know why they do it. Aaron, why do they do that?
I think once they'll get you locked in, you don't have any choice but to just buy more and more from them.
Yeah, and every time they upgrade, you're tempted to do the upgrade, and
Right.
you're locked into what you have to buy to do the upgrade.
Right.
Yeah, that's been one of my complaints about CEREC from day one. It's a closed ecosystem. I believe it should be an open ecosystem. They're not listening to me though on that one. But there's 3 technology that are absolute practice builders. And first of all, I think it'll make your work more fun, more enjoyable. It'll convey an image of being state of the art to your patients. You'll get benefits from that. But here they are: CBCT, digital scanner, and the third one, 3D printer. Now, Naren, on the third one, the 3D printer, I believe it's a little bit early, but I think you ought to jump into the game. What can we use 3D printers for today? Well, we could print surgical guides. Okay, so now we can print surgical guides, and we can do everything computer guided. We could print certain appliances. Certain night guard type appliances can be printed. There are offices that are printing temporaries, provisional teeth, not finished, but provisional. The quality is there. You think about the technology near on a mill. We start with a block of material, and the mill removes material to produce the finished product. The printer is the opposite. It's building material into it. And the reality is right now, we do not have finished restoration quality material. It's coming. I'm told by some insiders that we're not far from that. But I do know complex restorative practices, PROS practices that are printing provisional materials from a 3D printer with very good results. But they're not finished restoration. The finished restoration is still coming. But maybe they're a holding pattern. They're doing something in terms of treatment sequencing where they're putting the patient in a holding pattern until they hit the next step, and then they'll have the final restorations either milled or provided by the lab. But I do believe 3D printing is something that is worth considering for sure. And Aaron, imagine you had engineers in your practice's page. I think every practice has a handful of engineers, and you talked about the 3D printer. Do you think that might impress the engineers?
Absolutely, Gary.
Yeah, without a doubt, they're going to be.
I mean, I know like clients in Silicon Valley, for example, right? And there are a lot of pockets even within the United States where there's a lot of techies.
Yeah.
So definitely if you are in one of those pockets, I think this is technology is something you should be leading with.
Yeah, we should be leading with it. And frankly, it should be in our marketing. And it can be a practice builder for sure.